All right, let's get right into it. Something huge just happened, and you probably didn't hear about it on the news. The BRICS nations, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, plus their new partners, they didn't just talk about creating a new financial system. They went and did it. They flipped the switch.
And I'm not talking about some 5-year plan or a vague press release. This thing is live. It is operational. As we speak, this is not a drill.
We're talking about billions of dollars in real-world trade, oil deals, loans. It's all flowing through these new financial pipes, completely sidestepping the old system. But here's the part that really got my attention. 33 African countries have either jumped on board or are lining up to join.
And that brings us to the real heart of the matter, doesn't it? Is this Africa's shot at genuine financial freedom? Or is the continent just about to trade in one master for a new one? The decisions being made right now are going to answer that question.
To really get why this is such a seismic event, we have to understand the system it's up against. For more than 70 years, really since the end of World War II, the entire global economy has run on one thing: the US dollar.
There's a fancy term for it, dollar hegemony. But let's break that down. It just means that if you're a country anywhere in the world and you want to buy, sell, or save on a global scale, you've pretty much got to do it in dollars. This isn't just an inconvenience. It means decisions made in Washington can shake your entire economy. It gives the US a kind of ultimate off switch on any country's economy.
And if you want to see what that power looks like in action, well, just look at what happened with Russia. In 2022, they learned a very hard lesson when $300 billion of their foreign reserves were frozen. Just like that. Overnight. The message that sent to capitals all over the world was crystal clear. If it can happen to a nuclear power, it can happen to anyone.
Now for Africa, this system has always been particularly absurd. I mean, look at this. Say a business in Ghana wants to pay a supplier in Kenya, 2 countries right there on the same continent. But that money, it has to take a round trip to a bank in New York City. It gets converted into dollars, a fee is taken, and only then is it sent all the way back to Africa. It's crazy.
And the cost of this ridiculous detour is just staggering. We're talking about $5 billion every single year that African countries lose just in currency conversion fees. Think about that. That's money that could be building hospitals, schools, roads, just vanishing into the pockets of global banks. So yeah, when BRICS comes along and says, hey, we've got another way, you better believe leaders are listening.
So what is this BRICS alternative exactly? It's not about creating one single new currency to rule them all. It's actually much cleverer. It's about creating a network of networks. So instead of every country having to route their money through New York, they just connect their own domestic payment systems directly to each other.
This chart lays it out perfectly. The old way, centralized, totally dependent on the dollar and leaves you wide open to US sanctions. The new BRICS way, a direct network, you use your own local currencies, you bypass US control, and the transactions are instant and way cheaper. And the big question, is it actually working? Oh yeah, the receipts are in. Russia and China did over $240 billion in trade last year, not $1 involved. India is buying Russian oil with rupees. But the real game changer is the BRICS New Development Bank. It's now giving out loans in local currencies. Imagine Egypt getting a loan in Egyptian pounds and paying it back in pounds. That completely eliminates the risk of a rising dollar wrecking your national budget.
Okay, but here's the twist. This is where the story gets really interesting. While everyone was watching BRICS make its move, Africa was quietly building its own financial highway in parallel.
It's called PAPS, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, and its goal is massive: to do for Africa what BRICS Pay wants to do for its members. It's already live, connecting central banks, and it means a business in Nigeria can finally pay a supplier in Kenya directly, in their own currencies, without ever needing a dollar. This is Africa building its own financial plumbing.
So now you have these 2 massive, new, non-dollar systems coming online at the exact same time. And this puts the entire continent of Africa at a huge strategic crossroads. What happens now?
You can really see 2 very different futures branching out from this moment. Scenario 1, you have true independence. Africa uses its own PAP system for trade within the continent, keeping that wealth circulating at home while using BRICS Pay to trade with the rest of the world on better terms. But then there's Scenario 2, a new dependency. In a rush to escape the dollar, African nations ditch their own system and just plug into the BRICS one, effectively swapping a master in Washington for one in Beijing.
But what if it's not a choice between door number 1 and door number 2? What if the smartest play isn't to choose a side at all, but to play both sides against the middle? Because right now, for the first time in a very long time, Africa has some serious leverage.
And that leverage comes from what's buried in the ground. I'm talking about critical minerals. The entire global green energy revolution, every electric car, every giant wind turbine, every battery, it simply cannot happen without Africa. The continent holds 70% of the world's cobalt, not to mention huge deposits of lithium and rare earths. And everybody, from Washington to Beijing, knows.
And look, this isn't just a theory, it is already happening. Look at Kenya. They joined the BRICS alliance, and just a few months later, they announce a $2 billion infrastructure deal with the EU. Coincidence? Then there's Nigeria. They start talking about BRICS pay, and what happens? Suddenly the US is looking to expand trade benefits. This is the new great game, and for once, Africa is holding some very strong cards.
So, looking ahead, here are the key things to watch. Which African countries actually go all in with BRICS pay? Can Africa's own system, PAPS, get big enough, fast enough, to be the #1 choice for trade on the continent? And how will the US and Europe react? With partnership or with pressure? The answer will tell us if these new deals are building real independence or just forging a new set of chains.
You know, there's a Swahili proverb that says, it's the little things that tie you down. Things like currency conversion fees, loan conditions, the fine print on a trade deal, those are the real chains. BRICS is offering to cut some of them. But the ultimate question is whether Africa can use this moment to finally control those little things for itself, or if it's about to get tied down all over again.